who played your part in the movie? The movie was so popular.
The role was made super infamous by Dick Van Dyke.
Dick Van Dyke. Yeah, you don't look too much like Dick Van Dyke.
I do not.
I can kind of imagine here. So,
yeah.
Well, boy, that's really really a role that has a lot to it, and it's going to be very challenging. That's the word I'm looking for.
Definitely. I was fortunate enough to play Dick Van Dyke role last year during Mary Poppins, which we did. So I got to play Bert in that, and so I guess I kind of have a little bit of experience with that. But a challenge in and of itself to give people who watch it something to remind them of Dick Van Dyke in the movie, but also kind of making it my own.
Well, I think, Brian, we have to really compliment the school and all the students involved. You put together a first-rate production in your theater department there. And everybody still talks about Mary Poppins last year, and what a great, great performance that was.
Yeah, we have to give credit where credit is due, and that is not only to our students and all their parents behind the scenes that do a lot of support and preparation for that, but some of the magic behind the scenes too, and he's never in front, and he's not here today, and that's our director of our theater program, Kevin Schneider. He's been involved with our Holland High School program for a number of years. Under his leadership, they've won 20 state Class A competitive theater championships over a duration of time. They've been involved in performing numerous times across the community. We've had over 36,000 individuals who've been able to come and see that. Not only our theater program, but also our competitive forensics program, speech and debate. They've placed in the top 5 teams in 3 of the last 4 years statewide. They've also been able to do some national pieces, and the team was named by the National Speech and Debate Association as one of the elite top 1% of programs nationally for qualifying 16 student speakers and debaters to the national finals. So it's a really incredible program to be able to bring out natural talent that individuals have inside them, whether this is their 3rd or 4th year as seniors or just starting out with their 1st year in theater like Mariah has. Being able to take an idea and a concept and not only learn the different roles, but these young people build their own sets. They work with individuals on their choreography. Isiah, as Bert last year in Mary Poppins, was actually dancing and singing upside down while suspended from a chimney top last year in Mary Poppins. I can't give away all the secrets that they might see, but those that are familiar with the story of Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, I'm guessing the car is actually going to fly in some way, shape, or form in this performance. But individuals will have to come out and see that. But why don't we talk a little bit about Isiah? Let's start with you, and then we're going to switch to Mariah. What you do as a performer to prepare for the role that you have. What does it take behind the scenes to do? How many hours of preparation, and how do you memorize all those lines?
Throughout my time with theater, it's definitely a part of just practice. We have up to 3-hour rehearsals every day until we get closer to Tech Week, which takes a lot more time. It's an insane amount of time. I don't know if people understand that. An insane amount of time to put the quality show we put on, I think. To prepare for it, I mean, a lot of the times we have rehearsals with dancing, singing, and blocking, which is the movement on stage that we do to learn all the lines. To learn all the lines, which I usually do is either I get together with a bunch of people that are doing the roles, and for me, it's better to run the lines with the people there and to have that interaction, because it's not just to the point of what you're just saying the lines back and forth, but you're actually trying to prove to people, or not prove to people, but be convincing enough that this is really happening.
Really, in some situation comedies, you call it a table read, and we're just sitting around a table and looking at the current week's episode and what's involved. And boy, when you get into a big production like this, that's got to be one heck of a table read.
Yeah, we definitely have.
If you do that,
table reads. Kind of like in the beginning of the show when we're first reading an act or something, we always sit around in a big circle of tables, and we read through it. We read through it. Schneider, our director, Mr. Schneider, gives suggestions. Maybe you could say it like this. Maybe not give such a big pause during that to kind of get a feel for it. And within that, after that, we can add movement, the blocking in, the singing, all that stuff to finally put it all together.
Let's go to Mariah here, and you play Truly Scrumptious. I love that name. And Mariah Bowden, and How is this being your first year doing a play? Is this considered a play? It's a musical, really, isn't it?
Musical.
Yeah. What drew you to want to do theater and performing like this, Mariah?
I think mostly my friends, they always nagged me about, hey, you should do this. Like, I think you'd be really good at it. So finally, after a year of considering it, I decided to just go for it. And I ended up loving it. And I love rehearsing, despite how time-consuming it may be and how much effort. And it takes up a lot of, what's the word I'm looking for?
Time?
A lot of, not time, but
Energy.
Something like that.
effort. It just
Effort.
yeah. You know, you have to put your all into it all the time, but it's so worth it.
So tell us more about your role and what draws you to that role of Truly Scrumptious.
So my role is Truly Scrumptious, and she's the daughter of Lord Scrumptious, who owns this candy factory, and she's very powerful, and she has a lot of
Stage fright right now and radio fright, but that's okay.
she's very independent and powerful, like I said, and she's very to herself. And when she meets Caractacus, she's not very, like, impressed with him. She thinks that he's kind of silly and, like, he doesn't take things very seriously. So, yeah.
Well, we're forgetting Nick over here. Nick, you have to tell us about your character, Nick Hoffman, everybody.
Yeah, well, I'm playing the child catcher, which is one of the primary antagonists in the show. And he's really an interesting character in that almost every other character in the show has sort of a lightness and a happy, upbeat tempo to them. But my character is very not serious, but very different in the sense that he's almost kind of weird. He's very heavy, very well, his job is to run around and catch kids, so someone who runs around and catch kids can't be very happy. It's been interesting for me trying to play this role in that I've seen many different interpretations of it, as either he's very creepy, jumps around, like light, airy, and then I've seen interpretations where he's very heavy and serious and kind of like bad cop, good cop type of scenario. But it's really an interesting character, very creepy, very interesting.
So it's a challenge for you to play something like that, but it must be fun for an actor.
Oh, definitely.
To get a character
very
like
fun.
that, a role.
So, Nick, as you think about the different interpretations you saw, I think that's a good point for our listeners, not only as they try to learn all the lines and do the blocking and do the reads as we've talked about, to be able to watch other performances and how that character has been interpreted and make the character their own in this play, obviously with the guidance of Mr. Schneider, but also truly getting into form. It's been fun for me to watch rehearsals sometimes or go and talk with the students. They never break out of character because once you get into that mindset, you need to stick with that. So, Nick, as you've been watching and interpreting different ways, how do you think you might at this point interpret how you're going to play the child catcher?
Well, from my own interpretations, as one of the most dangerous things you can do is see a performance and then try to copy that character. If you want your character to be genuine, it has to come from yourself with influences from other characters, but it needs to come from within yourself. The way I want to play the child catcher as of right now, which could potentially change, is I really like the creepy aspect of it. I want to play him as someone who's going to give nightmares to kids. My goal is to make a kid start crying in the audience if I can. But yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun.